supper.
Junk food supper.
Junk food supper.
Junk food.
Junk food supper.
Food supper. Junk food supper. Junk food supper.
Junk food supper.
Welcome to Junk Food Supper, episode number 27. Your world's number one Garmonbozia podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sean Byron, joined as always by Parker Beantown Bowman, not joined by Kelvin Moose this week. We lied to you in the closing of the last episode, and for that, we are sorry. You know, we made claims that Kevin would be here. Turns out we looked at the wrong calendar. We thought that we were close to Christmas. We weren't. We were close to Thanksgiving, so there's no reason to have Kevin back so soon for a Christmas-themed episode in the first week of December. That would be nuts. But how are you doing, Mr. Bowman? Are you ready for Twin Peaks week on the show?
I am definitely ready, and I do just want to say that Kevin, he plays by his own rules. If there's one thing I've always said about Kevin, it's...
He's got his own M.O., modus operandi.
That's one thing you can rely on with Kevin.
You've always said that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm excited to talk about Twin Peaks. We've been doing a lot of Twin Peaks chatting the last few months. Most of it hidden away over at the Patreon, but now I'm happy that we get to share our love of Twin Peaks with everybody, because we do love it. We love David Lynch and we love Twin Peaks.
Yeah, it's, our love for David Lynch is finally on full display. No longer will that be our dirty little secret. We do, have to let everybody know, we are Twin Peaks fans. And so this episode of Junk Food Supper that you're listening to, we will be talking about Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me and the missing pieces. But over on the Patreon, as you mentioned, we've been talking a lot about Twin Peaks over on those Bookhouse Boys episodes that we do at patreon.com/junkfooddinner. We just wrapped up season 2, so that should be out in your Junk Food Supper feed if you're a Patreon subscriber. Listen to that episode first, where we talk about the end of season 2, before we talk about Fire Walk with Me, because that's how we recorded it. That's how it will probably make the most sense to you. We might make references here on this show to things that we just talked about a few minutes ago on the Patreon. If you're not a subscriber, these kinds of inside references, they're going to fall on deaf ears, and you don't want that.
Yeah, it's true. Much like the way that time works in the Black Lodge, time will work very differently if you don't listen to these in order.
Absolutely. You'll be trying to listen to your podcast, trying to sip your coffee. You're going to be trying to sip on some scorched oil sludge instead.
Yeah. The only time that you can really rely on is when it's time for the percolator. I think that's like the only reliable Twin Peaks time.
What time is that? Is it now?
It's time for the percolator. It's time for the percolator.
I knew
it's
it.
time for the percolator.
It is now.
It is time for the percolator. Well, before we percolate on Peaks too much, though, maybe we should just do a little bit of general chit-chat. How was your week? Anything notable in your past week that's not Twin Peaks related?
Not really. I've been watching the show Better Call Saul, the Breaking Bad spinoff with Bob Odenkirk, and it's very good. I never watched it when it first aired, and so I'm catching up now, and it's a masterpiece.
Origin of my favorite magic card, the Sol Ring.
I don't remember that card. I did not have that.
Tap to get 2 colorless mana, I believe.
Okay. There is a very notable pinky ring that is very symbolic in the show, so maybe that is a reference to the magic card.
You know what? I think most things in popular culture these days tend to be references to magic cards, You've seen that new Demonic Tutor streaming series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kids are loving it.
That's true. But outside of that, nothing. Just making my way through the world without my good friend, Little Kepi. That's just taking it one day at a time. Yeah.
We'll miss him. I mean, he has been immortalized, on podcasts, so I feel like even you should feel free to go back, go to junkfooddinner.com, Parker, dial up an old episode. Enjoy those moments. You know, you might hear him in the background scraping around.
That's true. I was actually tempted to go back through. I know that there's a bunch of Junk Food Dinner episodes where he's in the background, and there's one pool party episode where he's in the background for like 20 minutes or something because he just wouldn't shut up. Mm-hmm. But for the life of me, I don't know what episode that was. But I was thinking about trying to find one of those episodes and just inserting him randomly throughout the last episode, but I just couldn't find any Kepi. But you know, everything reminds me of him, you know?
You remind me today of a small Mexican chihuahua.
Everywhere I go, I see him.
Man, this is 2 weeks in a row that thematically the films themselves are speaking to your own plight. And actually, before that, it was a movie about babysitting a dog. Right? Like the Journey to the Center of the Earth movie was about babysitting a dog.
Yeah, that's true.
For no reason. I mean, that's not in the books, obviously. It's almost as if, you know, the forces that control the plots of these films that we watch somehow, maybe again, this is the Black Lodge we're living in, you know, they had some kind of pathway through time to make these references for you, to make your life that much more difficult when you're grieving.
Could be. But I heard you were not grieving. I heard you saw Godzilla. How was Godzilla?
Well, before I saw Godzilla, I also saw the new Hayao Miyazaki movie in theaters. Oh, yeah. Went over to Burbank and saw The Boy and the Heron, which I loved. It was absolutely amazing. It's incredible to me that a dude as old as Miyazaki, who's probably 200 years old by now, can still make movies that feel like fresh and new and like different than other stuff that he's done. It's incredible. Like the level of quality on the animation, the music, everything about it. I fucking loved it. I'm going to see it again in IMAX in about a week from now. Really looking forward to that. And yeah, I also saw Godzilla, which I feel like I don't want to talk about because I think people are going to see it who want to see it. I know you're going to be seeing it this weekend.
Yep.
And I kind of want them to go have that experience without my opinions in their brain.
Okay, fair enough. I just before we started recording, I learned that it is playing here in my town, which I did not expect. I thought I was going to have to travel 45 minutes to go see it. So I'm excited to get to see it this weekend.
Yeah, see it. It's exciting to have a real Toho Godzilla that is, it's not a movie that makes concessions to like a mainstream American market whatsoever. It is 100% a Japanese movie through and through. It's exciting to have, you know, the opportunity to see these in theaters. So I have a lot of thoughts about it that we should, definitely talk about next week, I guess.
Okay. Is it a continuation from Shin Godzilla or is it its own thing?
It's its own thing, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and this is, I mean, not to get too much into my thoughts, and this is the only thing I'll say, but it's like, it's another origin story, which it's how many origin stories do we need for every property? It's like every second or third movie in any given property turns out to be an origin story. It's like, can't we just it used to be you would make a series of films and they would continue on and you would watch the series, and it's not like James Bond is rejoining MI6, you know, at the beginning of every Bond movie or something, you know what I mean? Like, you just continue, right? But, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a little disheartening. For whatever reason, I thought that this was Shin Godzilla 2, essentially, which I loved, but I'm still excited. I'll check this out. Yeah,
be excited. Go enjoy it. There's a lot to be excited about. My complaint about the origin story, you know, issue shouldn't hold anybody back. Go party with Godzilla, because it's cool that we even get that chance.
Okay. You been up to anything else? Go anywhere? Do any other fun stuff?
Those were the big highlights. I went to a suffocation show this past weekend. So a skeletal remains, suffocation, incantation, stabbing. some other bands. That was cool. But
those are the most metal band names I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I am still hoping that my hearing will fully recover. It's been 5 days now, so I'm starting to become skeptical that I'll ever have all of my hearing again. But it was probably still worth it, to be honest.
Well, if you lose your hearing, then you'll become Gordon Cole, and that's cool.
Yeah, and then they'll call me Gordon Cool.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But yeah, looking forward to next weekend, not this coming one, but the following one. So I guess we do have a record between now and then, where I could have teased this on the next episode, but pretty soon you'll be down in LA. We'll get to party, get to see my old Bowman buddy.
Yeah, indeed. I'm coming down there. Next week's my birthday, and the Aquabats are playing on my birthday. Which they tend to do a lot. I feel like the last time I came to LA to see them was on my birthday too, so I feel like maybe the Aquabats just really like me. And this is how they get me to come out to their shows. So I'm doing that next Friday, and then Saturday we're going to get into some adventures together. So yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited. I haven't left town, and it's been a couple months now since I went down to the desert in Palm Springs and all that. It's been a while, so I'm excited to do some stuff.
Yeah, you were, danger close to Los Angeles. Didn't even dip a toe in, You stayed in Palm Springs, that kind of area. I think LA's been missing you.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been down there. It's been
I guess it was Monsterpalooza, right? Was probably the last time.
Yeah.
We did do that, yeah.
Yeah,
it was
Monsterpalooza.
Like April or something.
Yeah, but before that, I think it was like maybe pre-COVID.
Yeah, probably, because we saw each other in Vegas, post-COVID, but before that, it would have been pre.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
Man, COVID, that was the thing that happened. Remember that?
I do remember that.
Man, what a wild time.
Yeah, I really miss working from home all the time, so I hope it comes back someday.
What's your schedule like these days? You're back to 5 days or what?
Yeah, I'm there pretty much all the time. Like, I'm allowed to work from home, but like if I do it too much, then like my bosses get a little like snippy about it. But yeah, generally I'm there all the time.
That is jacked up.
I know. It seems unethical now after COVID to make people go to work, especially when you work. I mean, everybody can work remotely. We've all got laptops. Like, there's no reason. Just empty out all these office buildings, turn it into low-income housing, and we'll fix the fucking world. Like, nobody needs to go to an office anymore.
Working from home was the one good thing that came out of this whole pandemic. Millions of people died. We all had to worry about where we were getting our toilet paper for a minute there. But at the end of it, we came out with jobs that we could pretend to do from home. And I thought that was a fair enough deal for these millions of people dying.
Yeah. I mean, I played so many video games when I was supposed to be working during COVID. It was beautiful.
Oh, man. Not to mention all those times you were doing a Jeffrey Toobin on your work calls.
I don't understand what this means.
You remember that guy, Jeffrey Toobin? He was the was it CNN? I believe it was CNN host who didn't have his pants on during a broadcast or something.
Yeah, I remember that guy. Well, yeah, I think he was like just straight up whacking it, I think, right?
Was he actually whacking it? I haven't seen the footage. Well, you gotta relieve stress. I get it.
Yeah. Journalism's a stressful job, Yeah. You gotta do what you can.
Yeah. Well, this episode, I believe, is going to be Twin Peaks from top to bottom, right? Is that our intent here? Like, what kind of subject do we have lined up for this first segment?
We've got an intense subject, actually, because, we're going to be talking about David Lynch in a bit, so I figured that we should keep on keeping on with that. So much like we did a few weeks ago where we ranked the top 20 junk food supper movies, I figured we could do that with David Lynch, now that I have officially seen all the David Lynch stuff except for Twin Peaks Season 3. I figured that we could come up with a canonical junk food supper ranking of all of the David Lynch movies by using your patented you came up with it, mathematical equation of we take my letterbox rating, your letterbox rating, we average them out, and then we get basically the whole list without doing a whole lot of work or arguing.
I love, math. I love when things are simple and easy. But what I'm not sure about is whether or not we've prepared for this segment properly. Do you have the formulas at the ready?
Ooh.
If not, I can pull it up. You just gotta give me 1 minute to pull up my spreadsheet.
Okay. Insert editing here. Insert editing. Okay. Insert editing. Okay. Insert editing.
Okay. All right. So I guess let's just dive into it now. So we've got our mathematical approach. We're gonna average, your letterboxd rating, my letterboxd rating, and what we'll end up with is the absolute truth, the inarguable fact of what is the best and worst David Lynch movies.
Yeah. I think we'll finally get down to the bottom of which ones are the best and which one's the worst. Kind of what made me start thinking about this is now that I've seen everything he's done, basically, including Twin Peaks, which I think people outside of maybe Mulholland Drive is probably the thing that people love the most of his. I was thinking if I were to go back to some of the stuff I hated of David Lynch's, would I like it more now that I've seen so much of his stuff? So I don't know, maybe. Mulholland Drive might be the one that I like more now, but I certainly will never like Inland Empire. I can guarantee you that. But, so that's kind of what...
Not even with the new remaster where he made it not look as bad anymore?
Oh, no, the badness is what is the only appealing part of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what got me thinking about this. But I think it'd be fun to compare our letterbox scores here.
Yeah, definitely. So should we dive in with the first movie, Eraserhead?
I think that's a good place to start.
Starring Pete Martell from Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm. There's a fish in his percolator, but not this
certainly is. No.
Yeah.
Way before the fish.
Yeah. I have this one. I like this one. I want to preface my star rating that you will probably not be happy with by saying I do like it. So I've got it at 3 stars, which is a solid like from me.
This is a disaster right from the get-go. 3 stars for the movie that has that turkey carving scene at the dinner table.
I do like that. That's my favorite part, the dinner
That's the best
scene.
part, yeah.
Yeah. Well, according to this, the last time I watched this was when we did it on the show, which was March 23rd, 2014. So I probably am due for a rewatch. I might like it. Actually, even more than Mulholland Drive. I bet this is the one that I'll like more now that I've seen more David Lynch stuff.
It's obviously it's the genesis of everything that would come later, but I think of all the movies, like this is kind of the unquestionable midnight movie classic, that even if you don't like the movie, I think this probably had the biggest impact on cult films out of anything in his career. The fact that this young dude made this totally outsider movie that would then, in some cases, play for years, at midnight at certain places, I think that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
And
when Stanley Kubrick was making The Shining, he sat the cast and crew down and showed them this film and was like, this is what I want you guys to do. So I feel like even if David Lynch never made another movie, having that hand in The Shining is like pretty rad.
And for that reason, I give it 5 stars for an average of 4. That doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But it's I don't know. For Eraserhead, that's pretty bad.
Well, maybe so.
Well, what about this Elephant Man? Kind of an atypical David Lynch movie, right? I would say this and The Straight Story kind of sit outside of, the rest of his work as being more humanist, obviously, and maybe more of a, touching drama in a way, but certainly still very weird and pretty cool that he got the opportunity to even do this. I guess the story is, right, that Mel Brooks was a big fan of Eraserhead and he was somehow involved in the production of this. I don't know if he was an EP or what, but that he got Lynch involved here, and what a cool choice. I mean, it's a great looking movie, very sad tale. Everybody in it's really good. John Hurt's incredible, of course. Anthony Hopkins is very good as well. I've only seen this, I think, once. I think this may be the only Lynch movie that I've only seen once, and I will go back to it eventually, but I've never felt like I was in a rush to do so, because it is kind of such a bummer of a movie in a lot of ways.
It is a very sad. Yeah, it's like definitely not like the kind of movie you're like, man, I just want to have fun tonight. Let's watch The Elephant Man. It's not a relax during entertainment kind of movie. That's for sure. But it's a movie I like a great deal. I gave this movie 4.5 stars because it's a masterpiece, and it's so weird to go from Eraserhead to Elephant Man. That's like such a it's like you make this crazy piece of like cult midnight movie thing, and then you make this like cinematic masterpiece that was up for Oscars and stuff. Like a wild turnaround there, but that's David Lynch, I guess.
Yeah. I also logged it at 4.5 stars because I found myself to be moved by it. But I will say right now, I'm going to be bummed if Elephant Man is the number one David Lynch movie. The movie that is maybe the least representative of his career. So,
well, there's one that's probably less so. Maybe the next one is less so, maybe. But
actually, debatably, yeah. So Dune, a movie that he's pretty much disowned at this point in time, but the Dino De Laurentiis version of Dune that Lynch directed is a movie that I've always, if I'm being fully honest, it's a movie that I've always wanted to love more than I actually probably do. The things that I like in this movie, I really like the costumes, 10 out of 10. A lot of the makeup and, special effects, 10 out of 10. The everything about the look of this movie is great. Certain scenes, the fear is the mind killer scene. It's fucking great in this movie, especially when you compare it to that shitty version that came out a few years ago where that scene sucks and everything about that movie sucks. I like a lot about this movie, but I will say it is also very boring. And I think that's because the original books are boring. I've tried to read that first book a few times. I think if you got patience, it's probably very rewarding, but I guess I just don't have the patience for it. So I've watched this a few times all the way through, and I feel like every time by about 2/3 of the way through, I'm like, I'm ready for this to be over. But I still like it. I gave it 3.5.
3.5? That's a lot. I've seen this the one time. Apparently in 2016, that was the year when I was determined. Me and Letterboxd got together, and I was like, I'm going to watch all these David Lynch movies because that's when most of these were logged. But I hated this movie. It is deeply boring. I assume that you're right and that the books are also boring. They've been sitting on my shelf for like 20 years, and every time I think about picking them up, I go, oh yeah, this is like 3,000 pages. I'm not ever going to read that ever in my life. No, thank you. But this is the best Dune movie. I mean, if we were ranking all the Dune movies, this would probably be number one. But I rated this very low. I rated this with 1 star.
Wow.
It's a very bad film.
Do you think you would stand by a 1 star on a rewatch? That's very low, dude. I mean, considering you give Bill Zebub movies more than 1 star, I don't think any David Lynch movie should ever be 1 star.
Well, I mean, at least Bill Zebub movies got boobies in there, I'm a man of simple pleasures.
But do they have sandworms?
No. But there's a Dustin Ferguson movie that has a sandworm in it.
Okay.
But I think I rated that. I rated that 0.5 star, I think, that movie.
Yeah. Goddamn. Well, maybe give it a rewatch. I mean, obviously it's got Kyle MacLachlan in it, but it's also got Jack Nance and Jürgen Prochnow and some other David Lynch type casting people. Everett McGill's in it actually as well. So
okay, maybe after this new Dune movie comes out next year, I'll rewatch them all.
You like Jürgen Prochnow? You know this guy.
I love Jürgen.
He's in Firewalk with me.
Okay, I don't know who he is. I know the name.
You'd recognize him. He's one of those guys that was like in Fangoria magazine every week when we were kids for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right. So 3.5 average. No, that's not right. That's not how averages work. 2.25 average based on my 3.5 in year one. Okay. Blue Velvet, a undeniable masterpiece that every lover of cinema is agreed upon to praise for all of their days, including me, because I think this movie is untouchably great. This maybe like delivers on the promise of Twin Peaks in a way that maybe not all of Twin Peaks does. It has that great kind of, what's behind the surface sort of element. It's got weirdo characters that you can't get out of your brain. Just great performances, top to bottom, great music. It feels to me like this is kind of where Lynch starts to settle into the Lynch that we know, and most of what comes after this is kind of in the mold of Blue Velvet.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that you feel like this is like the promise of Twin Peaks, like kind of at its full potential. I obviously watched this before I saw any Twin Peaks, but looking back at it, like I was thinking like, well, why would I ever want to watch Blue Velvet again? Like everything that happens in Blue Velvet is done better in Twin Peaks, so there's really no point. So that's interesting that you have the opposite take. Would you say that Blue Velvet is better than, I mean, I guess one's a TV show and one's a movie, but do you like Blue Velvet better than Twin Peaks then?
Well, I think pound for pound, like Blue Velvet never really falters. Like I don't think there's a boring second in the movie. Like the whole thing is entertaining from top to bottom. And I mean, as much as I love Twin Peaks, I would be lying if I said that there weren't some moments that are a little bit underwhelming.
James, yeah.
No, not James. but also, I think maybe even the highs of Blue Velvet are maybe, I'm tempted to say higher than Twin Peaks, but maybe that is crazy. But I don't know, like, the scene where he's, they're singing Blue Velvet, into the lamp and all that stuff. And, oh man, have you seen the deleted scenes from Blue Velvet yet? There's like 90 minutes worth or something of deleted scenes from this.
I have not, no. Are those the deleted scenes that are like, that make the movie much funnier? Or am I thinking of the missing pieces?
I think there maybe is some extra humor, maybe. I don't know. Like, there's definitely there's more absurdity, like there's a lady with like weird sparklers on her nipples in a bar for no reason at all. She's just topless with her nipples sparkling. Stuff like that.
Okay. Now this poster on Letterboxd, one of the worst movie posters of all time, would you say?
Yeah, but I mean, okay. I'm not going to blame that on Lynch. Could be Dino De Laurentiis' fault, probably.
Yeah. I would think that this movie was very, very different than.
Yeah, it just looks like a drama,
Yeah. Yeah. When we did this on the show in 2016, I didn't care for it. I found it, with a lot of this sort of middle part of Lynch, like there was stuff I liked and then a lot of stuff I didn't like, and a lot of stuff that was like, I felt like I should like I said this at the time, but like Blue Velvet reminds me a lot of like Greg Araki and Bret Easton Ellis, and I love those two guys, so I feel like I should love Blue Velvet and David Lynch, but I just didn't there. So I don't know.
Were you a big Dennis Hopper fan?
I mean, I liked him in Super Mario.
Okay,
That was
so the answer is no.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like him in Apocalypse Now. I haven't
You
seen
like him
like
in
a lot of.
Waterworld?
I still need to see Waterworld.
You've never seen Waterworld?
I've never seen it.
Oh, that is the most outrageous thing I've ever heard.
I think you might be right.
I guess that's why it bombed at the box office. You weren't there.
That's probably true. I mean, yeah, I think most of the most of his stuff that I've seen, Dennis Hopper stuff, is like his straight-to-video 90s stuff. So it's like, I don't have like the fondest emotions for him.
Or straight to HBO witchcraft movies or whatever that thing was.
Yeah, stuff like that. But I gave this one 2.5 stars.
What the fuck?
Perfectly
You're killing me
reasonable.
here.
It's right down the middle of the road.
On this 5-star film, we're going with 2.5.
It's a 2.5 star film. I mean, that's objectively true.
Wow. For an average of 3.75, this is unbelievable.
You know, your favorite man on earth, Roger Ebert, also hated this movie. He hated it more than I do.
He has bad taste in movies. I just like his funny fat face. Can a man just enjoy a critic's funny fat face? That's so weird to you, Bowman.
That's a reasonable point.
Would you say that you're not a Laura Dern fan?
I love Laura Dern. In fact, she's the only good part of the next movie.
I'm going to say this now. You rewatch Blue Velvet, I think it's going to be at least 4 stars.
You think so?
You're going to love this thing now.
Okay, maybe so. Would you say that this Blue Velvet's the one I need to rewatch the most?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is like the key to Lynch's filmography. Like, I do think like everything else after it is kind of retreading in this Blue Velvet space. And now that you've developed an appreciation for that Lynchian frame of mind, I think you're going to love Blue Velvet.
Okay. There's no monkeys in it, though. That's usually I like his stuff that's monkey based most.
Well, they're implied.
Okay.
You know, it's underneath the grass. If you zoom in past the ants, under the ants, there's monkeys.
Okay. All right. I'll watch that movie.
Another movie that you watched was Wild at Heart. It sounds like you're not a fan of, but I would be shocked and dismayed to hear that because this is a very fun film, kind of a Wizard of Oz type adaptation sort of a thing, kind of a riff on the Wizard of Oz. Laura Dern's great in it. My boy Nick Cage, great in it. Willem Dafoe's got those weird-ass prosthetic teeth in his fucking terrifying scene at that trailer park. Crispin Glover, Diane Ladd, just an incredible cast. Again, a lot of Twin Peaks people. You got Grace Zabriskie, Sherilyn Fenn, because he was making Twin Peaks at the time. Frances Bay, Sheryl Lee. Probably a Jurgen Proch now. Probably. I mean, he's not listed in any of the credits, but I'd like to think, again, if you zoom in under the grass, you'll find him there somewhere. I gave this 4 stars. I think this movie's a ton of fun.
I actually was thinking about rewatching this just because I saw that Sheryl Lee was in it. But I do hate this movie. I think Nicolas Cage is absolutely worthless in it. This is probably my least favorite Nicolas Cage performance. He's unbearable to watch. And
you don't like his Elvis type character in this?
No. And not even an Elvis type character. He's just doing a bad Elvis impression the whole time. It's deeply bad. But I like Laura Dern and I like Willem Dafoe and I like Wizard of Oz. So, I cannot imagine that I will grow to like this one ever at all. I just hate Nicolas Cage so much. So I gave it 2 stars.
2 stars. Even with the cool kind of casting twist of having a real life mother and daughter with Laura Dern and her mom in this. Even with that, you're not into it.
I like cool casting. I don't like nepotism though. Maybe those roles should have gone to the most deserving instead of just famous families. You ever think about that, Sean?
No, never thought about it. So it was what, 5 stars? You allotted 5? 2
stars.
That's an average of 3. Nobody wants to see Wild at Heart ranked on an average of 3.
I bet that if you were left to your own devices to rank these, that you would probably have it ranked wherever it's going to fall on our list too, because you only gave it 4 stars, so it's not close to the upper tier David Lynch for you. So I bet it'll fall where you would put it naturally.
That is probably true. Fire Walk with Me is next. 1992's Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. A movie that we've reviewed on the show before, a movie that we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute when we talk about the missing pieces, and a movie that I've loved since the day that I saw it. I did the correct thing, which is I watched all of Twin Peaks before watching this movie because I'm not an insane person. And so having that experience was great. You know, I loved the show. And then I had always kind of heard that the movie was not as well received. And then I watched the movie and I fucking loved it immediately. I've seen it in theaters a couple of times, on 35 at the New Beverly and at the New Art, I believe. And it plays in a theater real great. You know, the pink room scene with those strobe lights and that droning guitar song is one of the greatest scenes to witness in a theater. Like, it might be my favorite scene to see in a theater, in a dark room with those lights strobing like that and that music blaring and all those titties gyrating and these fat Canadians kind of, you know, mumbling to themselves incoherently. If you're lucky, you'll get the print without the subtitles on that scene where you can't really understand things. I do think that scene plays better when you can't really make out the dialogue. But yeah, I mean, as we'll talk about more, there's a lot to love here. This is a 5-star movie for me.
Yeah, I think I actually left you a comment on Letterboxd the other day that I think probably documents how much my feelings for this movie have grown over the years. Because I think when I first watched this movie in 2017, having not seen any Twin Peaks, having no clue what Twin Peaks even was really, outside of like damn good cup of coffee and there's a log lady, I liked this a lot. And I gave it 3 stars. I said, this is a pretty fun little horror movie. I don't understand any of it, but I like it aesthetically. And then we watched it for junk food dinner like a year ago. And my rating moved up even higher. I said, oh man, I'm giving this 4 stars now. It's grown on me over the course of the last few years. I love the pink room scene. I love Sheryl Lee. And then we watched it just now this week, and I bumped my rating up even further, Sean Byron, to 5 stars. This is a masterpiece.
Wow. Does this mean we may have stumbled already on our number 1 David Lynch movie of all time? Because I doubt that you ranked anything else at 5 stars, but don't tell me, because I do want to be surprised.
Okay, I won't tell you.
But that is an average of 5. 5 plus 5 divided by 2, it equals 5.
Masterpiece.
That's that math that I love so much. You know?
You're very good at it.
I didn't read your comments on my Letterboxd because I don't follow you on Letterboxd, and so I only read comments of people that I follow. You know, that's just my personal policy.
Perfectly reasonable.
After Fire Walk with Me, Lynch took a little bit of a break. Took 5 years off feature filmmaking before he made Lost Highway in 1997. A movie that I think the first time I saw it, I really liked, but didn't fully love. And I've gone back a few times over the years. I've probably seen this, I don't know, maybe 4 times or something. And I feel like every time I watch it, I like it more and more. It's just kind of it feels a little bit like it's a wind-up for Mulholland Drive. And I could see some people feeling like it's maybe not fully accomplishing the kind of circular surrealism dream logic thing that Mulholland Drive nails so well. But I don't know, I love it. There's so much about this movie that I love. I love, man, that part in this movie where the guy hits his head on the corner of the table at that like Hollywood Hills mansion or whatever, you know, and it starts bleeding out onto the carpet. It's one of the most horrifying moments in movie history. Like that really stuck with me. It feels like something that happened to me. Like I was in that room and one of my friends, you know, smashed their head on the table. I think Patricia Arquette's great in this. You know, I think what's his face, Robert Blake, is fucking terrifying in this. That's also one of the greatest scenes in Lynch history. Is that phone call scene with Robert Blake. So for me, it's, I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but you're going to hear this a few times. It's a 5-star pick.
A 5-star masterpiece.
That's how I'm ranking it.
Well, I didn't rank it that high. I like this movie. This may be one that I like more in the future. I should try it again. But there's a lot to like in here. I mean, obviously, like you said, Robert Blake and the whole, like, the telephone call scene is, like, magnificent. Robert Loggia is very fun. All the stuff with him is super cool. And, like, that's...
Oh, yeah. It's really funny. All the stuff where he's, like, cursing up a storm, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, fun, like, David Lynch humor in there that I'll probably enjoy more now that I've seen a lot more funny David Lynch stuff. The soundtrack's very good, except for that Rammstein song. That's not good. But most of the rest of the soundtrack's pretty good, I guess. Yeah,
it's got that cool David Bowie I'm Deranged track. We all like that.
Yeah. But yeah, like, the part that really holds me back on this movie is that Bill Pullman sucks and Balthazar Getty sucks. And those are, like, the two main stars of the movie, and they both suck.
You weren't sold on Bill Pullman's saxophone stylings? You didn't find him to be a convincing sax man?
I don't remember him playing the sax. It's been a while since I've seen
really?
this.
Oh, really? That's like the big thing. It's like in the beginning of the movie, you know, like he's, you know, Patricia Arquette's at home alone, and he's out at some nightclub playing sax and doing it like in a real saxy kind of a way.
I guess I should rewatch it then. Yeah, it's been, according to Letterboxd, 6 years since I've seen it, so I gotta dive back in. But I gave it 3 stars. A perfectly good movie.
Okay, all right. That's a 4-star average. And then we move on to, I guess this is actually maybe the biggest outlier in the career.
Yeah.
A movie that feels like it could have just been made by a regular dude who is not a, you know, bizarre cult movie hero. You know, this could have been just like a Spielberg picture or like a Ron Howard movie or a Robert Zemeckis. Like, this could have just been anybody, but it was David Lynch. And despite, you know, it not being the most Lynchian movie, I think it's a fucking great movie. Again, really touching. The Straight Story, you know, starring Richard Farnsworth, who is just incredible. Gives one of the all-time great performances in this movie. He himself, I think, was suffering from some rare bone cancer or something during filming that was apparently excruciating for him. And, you know, he was, you know, close to his deathbed, but wanted to make this movie together with Lynch that is about a guy, you know, kind of at the end of his days, going on a unlikely, you know, I guess almost Wizard of Oz-esque journey. And he fucking nailed it. I mean, everybody in this is great. Again, you know, Sissy Spacek, great. Harry Dean Stanton, great. Everett McGill shows up again. Cool to see him again. This is a 5-star movie for me, but I'm guessing it must be a 5-star movie for you as well, right?
It's pretty close. I love this movie. I think this is the movie that made me want to go back and start watching all his other movies, because we did this on the show. Like, you picked it. I think we did, like, it was like some theme show. that you did it. It was like we did like kids movies or like something like that, like heartbreaking movies or some atypical thing, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but yeah, seeing this movie, I was like, wait a minute, David Lynch knows how to tell a story. He can, like, he understands like how to make a movie great in like a normal way. Then why doesn't he do this all the time? What is this David Lynch doing with his life that he can make something like this and then also make, you know, the Nick Cage just doing an Elvis impression for 2 hours? Like, what's going on here? So that's kind of what prompted me to watch all the stuff I hadn't seen of his before, because yeah, I love this. Like, it's just like, it's like a movie making, like 101 by the numbers sort of a thing. Like, there's nothing like too crazy about it, like narratively or aesthetically or anything like that. It's just like the way you would want someone to make a movie on paper, and he does it like exceptionally well, and it hits all these emotional beats, and it's just wonderful. So I gave it 4.5 stars. I think it's great.
It's a great one, and you know, there's probably people out there who have avoided this for a long time because they feel like it might not appeal to them. You know, they feel like, I don't need to see a G-rated Disney movie about old people. Give it a shot. It is really good, surprisingly really good, and that stuff with Harry Dean at the very end, I think, is incredible. There's a shot where they're like looking up at the stars that I loved. Just, yeah, a wonderful movie. So glad that he made it. And then after that, that was 1999. The new millennium chimes in, and in the year 2001, we get Mulholland Drive, which I think was originally going to be another TV series, right? This was conceived as a pilot. I guess would have been Lynch's first foray back into TV since Hotel Room, maybe. But, you know, people probably were thinking like, hey, maybe we can get another Twin Peaks out of this guy. Whatever network it was, I don't know if it was ABC again or whoever, didn't like the pilot. He was able to get the rights to it back, I believe, like purchase it back, and then finish it as a film that came out and felt kind of like something that had been cobbled together from multiple disparate parts, but at the same time felt like it all belonged together in kind of that weird, magical David Lynch way. I've seen this, again, I think probably like 4, maybe 5 times, and the first time I saw this, I didn't fully get it at all. Not even like I didn't fully understand like the proceedings, but I didn't fully understand like the appeal. It felt a little bit too obtuse to me when I was like in my early 20s and I first saw this. I was like, it felt kind of try hard in the way that it kind of circumvents conventional narrative. But then the more that I watch it, the less I feel that way. The performances in this are incredible. Like Naomi Watts is incredible. She's got to do a lot in this movie. She's got to play this kind of, you know, doe-eyed, new in town kind of starlet. But she's also going to play these scenes where she's like cracked out and super depressed and crying and masturbating while crying. It's a crazy movie that goes a lot of places that you don't expect. I love the Silencio sequence, of course. I love Monty Montgomery in his cowboy hat. I love Michael J. Anderson in his full-sized human body. You know, that's what a weird idea that was, to cast a dwarf and then put him in this suit with, you know, standard-sized human proportions. Very strange. But I love it. It's 5 stars.
I don't even remember most of the stuff you just mentioned from this. So I don't know. This seems like the one that I should like the most. It's the whole thing is a riff. The whole thing is a remake, or not a remake, but like a remix, a riff, a play, a parody on Vertigo, like from top to bottom. So I should love it for that alone. And it also very much reminds me of a Bret Easton Ellis book called Glamorama, which came out right around the same time, about like a guy who's in the entertainment industry, and then perhaps an evil doppelganger of himself appears, and it's like very surreal and very, very odd and very weird. So it's very similar, much like Blue Velvet. Like, it's very similar to stuff I love, but I just didn't end up loving it. I think partly it's because I hate that scene with like the weird, scary witch behind the dumpster.
You hate it because it's so scary.
No, I hate it because like it doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the movie. It just,
That is like the best scene in the fucking movie, dude. Like, that is so unnerving. At Winky's Diner, when the weird creatures behind the dumpster, man, the dread, the sense of dread that they build up when he's talking about having the nightmare, and then, oh, you were standing over there, and then he looks over and the guy is standing over there by the counter. Man, and the performance, like, who's that guy? What's that guy's name? Is it David Dasmalkian? No, it's not him, but he looks like him.
Yeah.
You know the guy that I'm talking about.
I know the guy.
What a great performance from that guy. He's like twitching and he's sweating and he's nervous, and man,
I don't know.
That's crazy to me that you don't like that scene.
I remember him like seeing the scary monster and then like fainting like it's a 1940s science fiction movie or something.
Of course I fainted in my seat. I'm still fainting. I'll faint right now if that's what you need to know.
Well, I don't know, but that's really all I remember from this. I remember Melissa George. I like her a lot. She's in there somewhere.
I don't know who that is.
She's like the blonde lady.
Do you remember Michael J. Anderson in his non-dwarf bodysuit?
I do not, but that seems like the kind of thing I would really like, because I like that guy.
Yeah, the Garmin Bozia guy.
I love Garmin Bozia.
We do a whole podcast about him.
So I feel like of all of these, take this rating with a grain of salt, because I think I would like this one when I rewatch it. But at the time, I gave it 2.5 stars. So
take with a grain of salt means I'm going to add a couple stars to that, right?
No adding. I bet the first time you watched it, like you said, you probably gave it 2.5 stars, so you can't even be mad at this.
I wonder what I did. I think the first time I watched it was pre-Letterboxd, though, unfortunately. I wish I had Letterboxd rankings going back into my early 20s, you know?
Yeah. It's a wonderful website.
Inland Empire is next.
Okay. 2.5 stars? Is that what we're going to do with that one?
Oh, for Inland?
Yeah.
You know, if you had asked me the first time that I saw this, I probably would have been more inclined to agree with you. I don't think I would have went that low. I didn't really love this the first time. Like, I kind of appreciated it. I was like, all right, he's trying something different. That's cool. It's interesting. I'm coming around to it more and more, I feel like. I've still only seen it a couple times, but on that second watch, I definitely appreciated it more. I still wish the guy had hired a cameraman, or maybe just had less coffee on set or something, so Lynch could have had a steady hand when he was holding that fucking camera instead of shaking around. But it's, I don't know, I think all of the kind of story inside of the story, and, you know, the actress getting lost in the performance and things like this, I think those are interesting. You know, I think thematically this is very much in Lynch's wheelhouse. You know, the whole thing about being the dreamer who dreams and then lives inside the dream is, you know, very much on display in this movie. So there's cool stuff. It probably has Jürgen Proch now again, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. If you zoom in through the snow, you'll probably see him. But I gave it 4 stars, which is, you know, by Lynch standards for me, that's a pan. You know, 4 stars is a pretty low score.
True. Yeah. Looking at the letterbox for this, the letterbox banner is Justin Theroux as like a director, which I would have sworn was Mulholland Drive. I didn't even remember that being part of Inland Empire. I thought that he was that character in Mulholland Drive. So, and that was the only part of this movie I even remembered. So yeah, this is another movie that's very similar to that Glamorama Bret Easton Ellis book I just mentioned in terms of like falling into a movie role and kind of like living it out and stuff like that. But outside of that, it looks wretched. It's like 7 hours long. Laura Dern is essentially trying to do what Sheryl Lee does in Twin Peaks and not as good at it. And I love Laura Dern. I think she's great. So I don't mean to besmirch her, but she doesn't do this very well. So I gave this movie 1 star.
Wow. That is a low score. 1 star. There is also a, much like Fire Walk with Me and Blue Velvet, there's a compilation of deleted scenes from this called More Things That Happened. I think it's about 75 minutes long, according to Letterboxd. That's one of the few Lynch things I still have not seen, so I should go see that at some point. I don't know, is that worth a review on the show? Maybe it would be, I don't know.
Please,
Might be interesting.
No.
But, so I think that is all. Go ahead.
Is Rabbits in Inland Empire or is Rabbits in Mulholland Drive?
Rabbits is in Mulholland. No, it's in Inland Empire, right?
I don't know. Either one. Whichever one has Rabbits, that movie is made better by it because Rabbits is a masterpiece.
I think it's Inland, right?
That seems like it makes sense that it would be an Inland Empire since that movie is 8 hours long, but...
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was created, separately, though, right? I think that was something that he had made prior to the feature and then was like, I got this laying around, let me throw this in here.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, so that's all the main Lynches. We're not going to do the shorts or anything.
Right. So... I think we have results now. Do you want to read this these final rankings that I think are probably inarguable? There might be a couple of ties that we get a break.
Yeah. Okay. Are they in order?
Oh yeah. In column F on our handy dandy spreadsheet here.
Oh okay. Okay. All right. So okay. Wait. But then how do we get the
movies in column G there?
Okay, I was looking over.
I'm not good at Excel. The number rating, G is the name.
Okay, my mistake. Okay, so we've got, of course, at number 1, Fire Walk with Me, a masterpiece that we're going to talk about in depth here in a moment. And then
we truly did it.
We truly did it. David Lynch, wonderful guy. Ahead of his time with this one. People didn't like it at the time, but now we've come to settle that argument. It is good, after all. The Straight Story is the next one. Of course, it's a masterpiece, too. And then number 3, we got The Elephant Man. Number 4, we got a tie here between Lost Highway and Eraserhead. I'll leave it up to you. I gave both of these 3 stars.
I would go with Eraserhead, if only for historical prominence and its impact on culture. But they're both cool movies. I would probably, if you asked me to watch one tomorrow, I'm probably more often going to be in the mood to actually watch Lost Highway. Because there's more in it. Eraserhead is kind of just one scene that goes on for an entire movie. It's got one kind of tone, one kind of speed to it.
Yeah.
But I do love it still. But yeah, I would go for Eraserhead just based on, historical impact.
Yeah, and it's got more Jack Nance in it.
Yeah, it's a lot more Jack Nance. Not as much Richard more. Pryor, sadly.
Yeah. So, okay, number 4 is Eraserhead. Number 5, Lost Highway. Now we've got another tie between Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive. I would put Mulholland Drive on top, but I feel like maybe you feel differently.
Yeah, I think that's probably, again, going to be Blue Velvet just based on he's setting the template here. He's doing things that had never really been done.
Okay, well, we can put Blue Velvet, that's fine. We can put that one there at 7. Number 8's Mulholland Drive then. Number 9, Wild at Heart. Number 10, Inland Empire. And in last place is Dune. A real piece of crap.
Well, I think that these are all great films, even the ones that are not perfect. You got to appreciate this guy out there making this weird bullshit for us to enjoy, right?
Yeah, I love them. I mean, a lot of my favorite stuff is like short films that we didn't even put on this list. So,
I know you're a big fan of The Cowboy and the Frenchman.
I need to see that one. So yeah, I mean, I'm much less of a David Lynch hater than this makes me appear, because What Would Jack Do and Rabbits are like just masterpieces that I love. So,
and
I like David Lynch. I need to see that.
Well, you've kind of seen it, you know?
I like cowboys and Frenchmen. But, all right, well, let's see what these junkies are up to out there in junk food Dinnerland. This first one is from somebody I don't know who they are.
What's up, my boys? How y'all doing, my man? Happy holidays to you and yours truly great ones. Parker, Sean, sometimes Kevin. You know he'd be at the drive-ins watching this 35 millimeter print of like a gargoyles or gremlins or whatever he's watching. You know he's up there smoking us a pack back, man. I got some gems for y'all, man. Y'all's ready, boys. Here we go, man. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Here we go. All right. Get this little media player started, man. We got a song chopping away, baby. Early to rise, early to bed. And in between, I cooked and cleaned and went out of my head. Going through life with blinders on, it's tough to see. I had to get up, get out of bed. Oh man, that goddamn media player didn't refresh on me on time. Fucked up the song. Oh well. Hey man, let me ask you boys something. You guys, I know we do the Christmas movies and we got the songs, but what's a Christmas video game? Man, what y'all playing, at Christmas time? What games, man? I was thinking like Donkey Kong Country, that one level when he's on like the avalanche or some shit, man. That game's fucking going hard, bro. All right, happy holidays.
All right, thank you, caller. Happy holidays to you. My favorite Christmas video game, of course, is the Scary Elf game, where the elf chases you around your apartment. It's called September 7th. It's a masterpiece. Everybody should play it. What about you? Do you have any favorite Christmas video games?
Oh, absolutely. I would go with the Cool Spot game for Super Nintendo for no reason other than the fact that it features the colors red and green prominently.
I loved that game as a kid. That game was so fun.
A very underrated platformer, and the idle animations for Cool Spot when he's just standing around tapping his toes, adorable.
I agree. Yeah, most games based on things like that are real bad. Like the Noid game, infamously terrible.
Don't get me started on the Noid. You know what? We all loved the Noid back in the day, but it's too much, man. Noid in pop culture is all over the place. Kids today don't even know about Cool Spot. Let's bring him back.
I agree. We should bring him back.
Also, that thing about the Noid where the guy, did he murder and suicide, or did he just suicide because of the Noid? You know the guy? The Noid guy?
No.
You know about this?
I don't know about that.
There was some guy back in the day. This is why the Noid disappeared, by the way, because we all remember the Noid was killing it in the PR game for pizza. Everybody knew the Noid. It was a very popular advertising campaign. But I guess there was a guy out there in the real world whose last name was Noid, and he thought the commercials were making fun of him.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so he went batshit, and I don't remember, did he kill somebody and then kill himself, or just kill himself, but he did something. There was some kind of revenge of the Noid.
That's crazy. I bet, when that guy would, if he went to jail for those crimes that he did, for interpreting the commercial that way. I bet this is what the judge said to him.
You fuckhead. That's the stupidest thing you interpreted there.
I think you're absolutely right. It's kind of surprising that you've got the audio from the judge just on hand like that. But
well, I follow a lot of court cases.
Speaking of audio on hand, and speaking of music, which we weren't speaking of, but our esteemed caller was speaking of music. We got this great song submission on the Discord recently that I want to play right now. That is a tribute to Kevin Moss. So I'm just going to go ahead and play this, and everybody listening, you just have to deal with this for a couple minutes. Here you go.
No. No. You can't just assign vampirism to anything you don't understand. Also, let me get that snap, boo. Also, why are they fighting Dracula, for God's sakes? Also, I thought this was a lot of fun. No.
Mayor of Cincinnati.
I like that movie quite a bit. I like that witch. I love these kind of movies. Very nice. I like that movie quite a bit. I like that witch. I love these kind of movies. Very nice. I like that movie quite a bit. I like that witch. I love these kind of movies. Very nice. No. Oh, hell yeah. No. No. What? No. What?
All right, I love that song. That is my new ringtone, in fact, the Kevin Moss remix.
That's a good idea. I should do that too.
Yeah.
And then we have another caller. I believe this is Peter. So here we go with Peter.
Hey guys, it is Peter from Portland. Glad to call in on a Christmas themed episode. Is this a Christmas themed episode, or you're kicking off the Christmas season? Anyway, I didn't know if I was going to get another chance to leave a voicemail for Kevin before we got through the end of the year. So I just wanted to call, wish everyone happy holidays. Sean, Parker, thanks so much for Junk Food Supper. Kevin, thanks so much. I've missed you a lot. It's awesome having you on these monthly junk food dinners. And yeah, just, good cheer to everyone. Good cheer to all the listeners. I love you guys. Nothing in particular to say except that I love all you guys. I hope all of you have really good things in your lives right now. The world is fucking crazy. And it's just really nice to unwind and listen to my dudes talk about some movies. So, yeah, hope you guys are doing good. Everyone who hears this, I hope you're doing good. Happy holidays to you. Happy wishes. Bye.
Well, we've got some bad news for you, Peter, in Portland. And I think you already know. I think maybe it's not news anymore, but we refuse to relay messages like this to Kevin Moss, so he will never hear this. That's what you got to know about this voicemail line. If you call in on a week where Kevin's not here, you better be prepared to call in again with the same exact voicemail if you want Kevin to hear it, because I'm not going to pass on your well wishes. I appreciate them. The ones directed at me are welcome and valid, and I'm enjoying them. If Kevin wants to appreciate some well wishes for a holiday, he better be on the line at the time. Otherwise, I'm not fucking passing anything on to that guy.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, I mean, Kevin was supposed to be here. I think we had that on the calendar originally, but then we moved it around so that Kevin could be here on Christmas. That way we could do the Christmas episode as a family, as a real family. So yeah, you'll just have to call back in 2 weeks from now and let Kevin know how you feel on Christmas with your family. Have your family call in, your whole family.
Yeah, and in the 2 weeks, maybe cook up a song, Don't be the only voicemail guy without a song,
Mm-hmm. I think songs should definitely be your MO.
He's got his own MO. Modus operandi.
Well, that's music to my ears.
I just love Gordon Cole so much.
He's always been Gordon Cool to you.
True. Well, that's all the voicemails. We got a lot of Twin Peaks chat to get through, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the missing pieces and Firewalk with Me, so stick around.
Let's
Oh, my pretty little... I love you. So I stroke it, I pet it.
JunkFoodInternet.com is the world's oldest and sexiest website.
And massage it.
JunkFoodInternet.com is the world's oldest and sexiest website.
I get all excited. Yeah, I love it. I love my little naughty pet. You're naughty.
The world's oldest and sexiest website is JunkFoodInternet.com.
And I take my naughty pet.
The world's oldest and sexiest website is JunkFoodInternet.com.
Oh! I killed her!
You think you know Twin Peaks? The killer will strike again.
Burst into fire.
You're wrong. Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me, rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
Before Asami disappeared, she sent me this postcard from Great Northern. When they searched her room, all they found was this picture and this deer head.
Let's think about this over a coffee. No, Lucy? Incredible. You two have got to try this. It's rich. Man, oh man, this Georgia is damn fine coffee.
It's true. What about this deer head?
Notice the symbol, Ken. I think you and I should take a drive. Big Ed's Gas Farm, Georgia. Sammy's car. A very rare Von Singer Vival.
Red snooker balls? I don't get it.
Come on, let's grab a bite in a can of Georgia.
Agent Cooper?
Shelley, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. It's called Georgia coffee. Comes in a can. Tastes as good and rich as any cup of coffee I've ever had.
It's true. Are you Ken?
Yes?
A beautiful woman left this here for you.
Georgia ni makasero.
What do you think it means?
I don't know, Ken. The letter G. How about a couple of Georgia coffees while we think about it?
Hooper?
Hawk, you're gonna love Georgia coffee. It's brewed rich. Tastes incredible. Damn fine coffee, right?
Right.
It's true.
Agent Cooper, look what happens when I connect the pins.
The letter G. Good work, Andy. Hawk, what's under that last pin?
Glastonbury Grove.
Home of the Black Lodge.
Georgia ni makasero.
That's where I'll find Asami.
Watch.
The Black Lodge isn't in this world. Inside there's a red room. Asami.
Cooper.
Ken, 私はどうしたの？どこにいたの？
もう大丈夫だよ。Georgia.
Great idea, Ken. Brewed rich. Tastes incredible. Georgia's all around.
Georgia ni makasero.
誰が本当にローラを殺したのか。なぜローラは殺されたのか。
Diane, I have a strange hunch. Is the murder of Laura Palmer really the end, or just the beginning? In any case, I am absolutely certain that the key to the solution of this riddle is hidden within this film.
Twin Peaksドラマ最後の7日間
All right, welcome back to Junk Food Supper, episode number 27. Tonight on the show, we'll be talking at first about Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, and then also talking about The Missing Pieces, which is a compendium of deleted scenes from Fire Walk with Me. But this week, to get ready for watching the missing pieces again, I watched Fire Walk With Me again. So I figured maybe up top here, we'll talk about Fire Walk With Me, our thoughts on rewatching that, and then we'll talk about what's in the missing pieces. But I guess the first thing that struck me going back to Fire Walk With Me this time, watching it right after watching the series is, and I guess this should be obvious, but it really is striking when you watch them back to back, is like how much the movie just feels like pure undiluted David Lynch, versus the series. Like this is 100% Lynch.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I was doing some patented research, and Mark Frost, him and David Lynch got into like I don't know, maybe or sensationalizing it to call it a fight, but Mark Frost wanted to do a movie about like what happens to Cooper after the end of Twin Peaks, now that he's inhabited by Bob. David Lynch, being a very smart man, wanted to do the prequel about Laura Palmer, which I guess at the time was very controversial because obviously Mark Frost didn't like the idea, and people watching didn't like the idea because kinda we already know what happened to Laura Palmer. You really don't need to tell the story because the show already told it. But David Lynch, being such a madman and being so in love with Sheryl Lee, as we all should be, decided to go this way. So I think he made the right decision. But because of that, Mark Frost didn't even help write this movie. So this is like 100% David Lynch. Like I guess he had like one or two of like the staff writers like kind of helping him work things out on the script, but no Mark Frost, pretty much 100% David Lynch here.
Yeah, Robert Ingalls is the other credited writer on this, and he did work on the series. But yeah, no Frost, like you said, and I think Lynch made the right choice for sure in doing the prequel, like for a number of reasons. I mean, first off, if you don't do it now, you probably can't ever do it because, these actors are aging. This is your chance to get her while she still looks like Laura Palmer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that, I mean, I think, David Lynch, like it's pretty, apparent from the show, like Laura Palmer, like Sheryl Lee was hired to just play a corpse in one episode, but David Lynch liked her so much that he gave her like some of those flashback scenes throughout the first few episodes and then turned her into Maddie. And like, I think he recognized that she's great and that she needed to do more. And so, yeah, like it makes sense to go back to this time period of Twin Peaks so that you can have Sheryl Lee as Laura Palmer and you can have Ray Wise as Leland be kind of the two main people, because as we learned from the show, they're the best. Like, like that's the show. And then the show kind of just didn't really give us that. And I mean, it kind of couldn't because Laura Palmer was dead and everything, but I think David Lynch was wise to recognize that these are the two best parts of Twin Peaks and make a movie about them.
Yeah, but, even if he is focusing on the, quote-unquote best parts of Twin Peaks, it still had to have been incredibly jarring for audiences to be like, wait, what, I don't get any resolution to, like, these 15 different cliffhangers that you put into the final episode? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, true. I bet that was probably pretty upsetting for people. In fact, I know it was. I've listened to a couple of podcasts, movie podcasts that I like, where that was basically their reaction. It was like, well, fuck this movie. I wanted to find out what happened next, not what I already knew. So I think that was, kind of a wide reaction to this.
Yeah, I think if you're coming to David Lynch movies and TV shows in general with, the demand that you get the plot told to you at the pace that you expect, you're probably coming in, on bad footing to begin with, because he's rarely going to give that to you. That's not really what he wants to do. And I like the fact that, he leaned into kind of a left field take in a time when, even the concept of a prequel, not nearly as well established. I mean, before Star Wars, do you even remember hearing the word prequel ever?
No, I'm trying to think if there were any. I mean, I guess like Godfather 2 kind of has flashbacks, but it's not a prequel. Yeah,
to have an entire movie that is set before the main chronology Is this the first time? Certainly it must have been done at some point, but I can't think of one.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure Wikipedia probably has a list of them that I'll take a look at, but yeah, I can't remember any major ones. No. Yeah. There's probably some obvious one that we're forgetting, maybe. Or maybe not. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess, Star Wars is really the first time I can think of that happening, The Phantom Menace.
Yeah, The Wizard of Oz, they return to Oz, but they didn't. That's not a prequel.
No.
Yeah, the Dream Warriors, those guys are fighting their battles way after, the established timeline of the first two movies. What even would have been a prequel at this time? But yeah, so Lynch is in full control here, obviously, and you can see it. This movie feels very absurd right from the get-go. In that very first scene, we've got the FBI agents breaking up some sort of prostitution ring on an elementary school bus, it appears to be, in the background of the scene, which I thought was very funny and very just kind of absurd in a David Lynch kind of way. The Blue Rose scene with Lil obviously is 1,000% David Lynch type stuff. And even the set designs in this movie feel so Lynchian to me, there's so much wood in the set designs. I'm sure that must have been a direction that David Lynch gave to his location and, art department people. I want wood everywhere, but there's, every house in this movie has wooden siding. The morgue at the beginning of this movie is in this weird wooden barn with all wooden cabinets that I'm pretty sure you would never have a morgue in a building like that. Doesn't look very sterile at all, but a cool environment, and if there's ever a scene in this movie where somebody's sitting at a desk, it's going to be a big, heavy wooden desk, you know what I mean? It's just wood from top to bottom. I love it. Yeah.
David Lynch loves wood. He wrote about it in his book, as we've talked about before. It's just something he just really enjoys. So yeah, and it fits the aesthetic. If you're going to film something in the Pacific Northwest, there's goddamn better be a lot of wood. So
yeah. Well, and also it kind of, to me, suggests the presence of Josie. This is a movie in which Josie does not actually appear. There's a lot of wood on screen, and I like to think that Josie is in some of that wood.
I don't like to think that at all.
No, you shouldn't think that, because this is before that happens in the chronology.
True, yeah.
So, the music is also great in this. There's a lot of music cues from the series, but there's also a lot of new original music that Badalementi composed for this, and some other songs that are not Angelo's, but just Lynch liked, including this slow instrumental version of Sycamore Trees that runs under the opening credits. I really love that. I love the song at the Bang Bang Bar. I just love the way the music is used in this movie. Every scene seemingly has the perfect soundtrack under it,
Yeah, I agree. Right down to, what's it called? The Pink Room?
Yeah.
That has
the Pink Room.
The absolute best soundtrack scene of all time, I would say, in a movie. Or close to, just maybe there's a couple I like more, but yeah, it's fantastic. The entire soundtrack's great, and the best use of the Twin Peaks theme, there's a scene the first half an hour or whatever is doesn't have anything to do with Twin Peaks. It's just FBI stuff and Cooper and Gordon Cole and those guys, and then Cooper's I wonder when and where this killer will strike again, and then it smash cuts to the Twin Peaks sign that we all know and love from the theme, and it plays the theme, and it's just so wonderful the way it just hard cuts to it, and the theme comes in really loud, louder than probably the loudest song in the movie, at least for that first, maybe it fades down as it goes, but it really is almost a jump scare with how it jumps to the theme song, and it's great. It kind of makes you wish that Twin Peaks had a cold open on the show so that they could smash cut to the theme song rather than that being the first thing. Although, I mean, that wasn't really like in style at the time. It is now. But yeah, the use of the theme song in this is just wonderful. And you maybe wouldn't expect it because it's the theme song to a TV show. Like, I don't know that I would have expected to have, I mean, the whole the movie almost has an opening credit sequence because it gives you the sign and it gives you like some shots from in town and everything like that. And it's wonderful.
Yeah, well, and again, it's one of those things that I think maybe we take a little bit for granted now, but at the time might have been more revolutionary. Like, I feel like probably if you watch the Simpsons movie now, like they probably did something like that, right? Where they reused the Simpsons theme song or made allusions to things that were, visual references from the series to be like, hey, you remember this. But I don't know that movies were really doing that very much back then. It does feel kind of like like a new approach to be like deliberately referencing something like so openly like this. And I thought it was cool too. I really enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
There are some downsides though. It's not as much as I love this movie and I did give it 5 stars. I have to admit that Moira Kelly is an incredible downgrade from Lara Flynn Boyle. And it's really a shame, that like we're in 2023 now, and with all the advancements in CGI and AI and all these newfangled computers that end with I, and nobody's done a cut of this movie where we comp in the right Donna. Let's get Lucas on this, right?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't nearly as high on Lara Flynn Boyle as you on the show, but I like her, and she's way better than Moira Kelly. And I mean, yeah, you would think, yeah, I mean, just that, for continuity's sake, it'd be great to have her. And also, it gives her something to do. I mean, for God's sakes, 2 seasons of the show, she had nothing to do. So finally, she would have had something to do in the movie, and she didn't want to come back.
Yeah. I would have liked to have seen her in that pink room instead of Moira Kelly, but we got what we got. We also do get another chance to spend a minute with Harold Smith's agoraphobic ass, and I always love seeing Harold Smith. Did you appreciate your time with Harold Smith more now that you know him so well from the series, now that he's become one of your favorite characters?
Yeah. I had no idea who he was before, obviously, because I saw this before ever watching the show, but but it was fun to see, like, even a lot of the characters that I hated on the show or just didn't care about, like, seeing them here really felt, it felt good, like, I don't, for whatever reason, like, maybe because David Lynch himself loves these characters, so he shoots them.
I think that's it. He knows how to use these characters in a way where I feel like it's almost like he's got this box of weird toys that he hands over to the next director who's like, I don't know how to play with all of these, so I'm just going to stick to the ones that I understand,
Yeah. So, like, seeing guys, I like Bobby, but like seeing Bobby and Mike together in that first scene early on where they like catcall Laura, it's like, oh yeah, Bobby and Mike, that's great. Like seeing James show up, it's like, oh, there's James. He's doing stuff. Like, he's not bugging me. It's great to see him, And then, of course, some of the, like, more the characters I love even more show up later. It's like I think that all the ancillary characters are used just perfectly in this movie. Like, kind of like how we talked about with the final episode. Like, there's a big through line, a big plot in that, where like 75% of the story is about Coop, tracking down this killer. And here we have the same thing, where it's like 80% of the movie is Laura Palmer dealing with this spiral, this downward spiral, but it's sprinkled in with all the weird characters. Harold, Log Lady, comes in and just, finds Laura on the street and tells her something very cryptic and ominous, and then disappears. Big Ed and Nadine come into the diner and they have a blow up. That actually might be in the missing pieces, not the actual movie. They kind of blend together, and then they leave, and then that's it. You just get like this nice little sprinkling of all these weirdo characters, and that's perfect. That's the perfect Twin Peaks formula. Like, giving these weirdo ancillary characters more than that is bogus. They're not interesting enough to carry entire plot lines, but sprinkling them into a story that is anchored and that we care about, perfect, magnifique. Like, the way all the characters are used in this is just beautiful.
Yeah, one character that I think is used especially well in this is that crazy Canuck, Jacques Renault, who, we get to see in this movie kind of in his drug-slinging prime. A character that, was fairly menacing on the show, but I think is just, kind of feels like an unhinged monster in a way in this movie in certain scenes. So I really like how he used him.
Mm-hmm. He is great. He does have my least favorite line in the movie, which is when they're in the pink room and he talks about being like a fart in the wind or whatever. Like, I still don't like that line. I don't like that part. But I do like him. I like the character.
About the great Went here.
Yep, that's the guy. Yeah.
Yeah, George Went, notorious fartster.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff to love about this. We did already review this movie, so we don't have to get too deep into Fire Walk with Me and our thoughts on it. I guess we can jump into the missing pieces in a minute, but I did want to talk about one thing that kind of struck me while I was rewatching this time, which is, we mentioned on the Bookhouse Boys, one of the appeals to this show is just the fact that it is so open-ended and that you don't really necessarily have to settle on a single meaning for things. And, I like watching this and having my mind be open to different interpretations and stuff like that. So one interpretation that, I don't even know if I fully believe, but I think does work pretty well for a lot of this stuff is that, and this feels maybe like a cop-out because I think it's probably something that has been used elsewhere and maybe is a bit of a trope, but I feel like you could interpret the entirety of Twin Peaks, with the exception of Fire Walk with Me, as a crazy death dream of Laura Palmer. And I think there are a lot of clues to this. For instance, in this movie, there is a scene in which Laura goes to sleep and has a dream about Agent Cooper, as well as Annie. And these are two people that she has never met in her entire life. So it wouldn't make any sense for her to have dreams about these people. But it would make sense, if she was later having a follow-up dream that they would recur in it. And I think if you look at kind of the tone of this movie versus the tone of the show, them being so different, I guess you could say, well, one was directed by Lynch and the other one is directed by a mixture of people. Maybe that explains why the tone is different. You could also see it as this is the reality, and if you look at the town of Twin Peaks in this movie, it is way less campy, way less silly, less heightened overall, more kind of grounded and kind of depressing. Maybe that is the reality, and then all that weird, nonsense that we see on the show about drape runners and stuff like this, maybe, that could just be a weird death dream fantasy of a dying girl. Yeah, definitely. I think that's the only way that Nadine getting superpowers makes any sense. So that's certainly a reasonable reading to me. So the other clue to that, and this is where I think it gets most interesting, is when you watch the pink room in this movie, and I hadn't thought about this until this time, because in between the last time that I watched it and watching it this time, I read something where somebody theorized about this. The pink room kind of seems like it's the Black Lodge. There's a lot of visual similarities to how the room is structured. These kinds of stripes that are on the wall kind of look like the zigzag pattern on the floor. It's called the pink room, but it in fact is a red light that is blinking, kind of causing it to look a little bit pink. But just visually, there's a lot of similarities. And this guy, there's a guy online who like comped together all these photos from the show and from the movie, kind of comparing the Pink Room to the Black Lodge. And Lynch is using like very deliberate camera angles where the characters are staged in exactly the same ways. So I thought that was interesting. And, you know, if that is the case, then it is kind of one of those things where this night in Laura Palmer's life at the Pink Room clearly was kind of traumatic for her. Her friend almost got raped. Shit was kind of spiraling out of control. It would make sense to me that she would be having, you know, like nightmares about this place.
Yeah, and I mean, I think in sort of in a literal way, I mean, the Pink Room happens like probably around halfway through Laura's story in this, and so, yeah, it would make sense that she would go to a pink room before a red room, right? Like if she's spiraling, if you're using like red to be the end of the spiral, then it would make sense to be pink before that, right? So,
yeah,
yeah, that makes sense to me.
There's even a thing when we first enter the Pink Room, the first shot that we get is not the room itself, it's a hole in the ceiling that is completely circular with a light shining down through it. And if you watch the final episode of season 2, there's that hole in the ground in the forest in between the circle of trees where Cooper shines a flashlight into.
Yeah.
That leads into the Black Lodge. So that's another, I think, maybe indication that could be the same place. But, you know, as with anything with Twin Peaks, it's all open to interpretation. I don't even know that I fully believe it, but I think if you watch the show or this movie with that in mind, it makes for an interesting watch for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it ends with her being like, it ends with the static. Like we get static at the beginning of the movie when the TV gets smashed, which is like just the best, like one of the best, most spiteful things that I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
And then
great symbolism.
Yeah. And then the static comes back at the end, which I think, right? Like there's static playing over like Laura's face and stuff at the very end, right?
Yeah.
Again, yeah. And so, yeah. So if the beginning is us watching a TV with the static, the end must be Laura watching something because the static comes back to bring that motif back. So maybe she's watching Twin Peaks now as her death dream, the way we watched it before.
There's also the thing where the only 2 times in Twin Peaks that you see subtitles are in the Pink Room and the Black Lodge. Only 2 rooms that are named after colors. The only 2 times that Laura Palmer snaps her fingers, which maybe is meaningless, who knows, but it's very deliberate that in both scenes she's snapping her fingers and doesn't do it anywhere else. So I think there are clues here and there, but who knows? Maybe these are all just kind of weird happenstance coincidences that, happily add up to this interesting theory that, it makes it more fun to watch, but can never be sure, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
If you would like, I guess let's get into the missing pieces now, unless you had more thoughts on the movie itself.
Well, just a few things that I've picked up now that I've actually seen Twin Peaks. There were some things that stuck out to me because the first 2 times I watched this, I had no idea what was Twin Peaks. I now understand the jokes at the beginning of the movie where Kiefer Sutherland and Chris Isaac, is that his name?
Oh, yeah.
Go to the town where the first girl is killed, and they go to the diner there. Deer Meadow. And they go to the diner, and it's like an unpleasant, old, ugly lady.
We're talking Hap's Diner.
Yeah, they go to Hap's, and it's the unpleasant lady who has no specials to give them. And it's just the complete opposite of the Twin Peaks diner and Shelley and Norma.
Well, and so was the sheriff's station too, yep. Right?
Yeah.
Everything is kind of this dark mirror image of Twin Peaks.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I didn't get that before, but yeah, they get to the sheriff's office and it's like The doppelganger Lucy is laughing at them. The sheriff is unhelpful. He fights Chris Isaac. And then also when they go to see Harry Dean Stanton from the Avengers, he's sort of like that town's Jack Nance, and he's completely unhelpful. Just the complete opposite of Jack Nance. So yeah, I love that. I didn't really get that was a bizarro world image of Twin Peaks before, but now that I get it, I love it even more. Also, another thing I wanted to point out is like the town feels weird. Like the whole time I was watching for like 45 minutes, I was like, this town feels weird. This doesn't feel like Twin Peaks to me. What's going on here? And then I realized, oh, it's a real town. Like we're not stuck on the same 3 sets. This is amazing. That's why it feels weird. It's now looks like it's a real place. This is wonderful.
Well, and they went up, north to shoot it, outside of Seattle, whereas most of the show outside of the pilot is just Los Angeles. Even if you do get an exterior, it's going to be like Malibu or something.
Yeah, which we could probably count on one hand the amount of times they actually went outside on the TV show.
Yeah, it was usually to that fucking gazebo.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Gazebo got a lot of play.
So those 2 things stuck out to me. But I guess this kind of applies to both things, both versions. But I need to know. I'm very curious. Why are the Garmin Bozia guys, the whole gang, the Arm, the little man from another place, Killer Bob, the Tremons, who I thought were normal people. I didn't even think that they were weird demons.
Oh yeah, Mrs. Tremont, neighbor to Harold Smith, makes a pretty big appearance in this.
Yeah, the little kid, and a couple of other people that we've never even seen before. They all live...
Jumping Man and the electrician you're talking about?
Yeah. They all live together in a tiny little room with a pharmaca table, not in the Black Lodge.
No. This is the room above the convenience store.
Yeah, the room above the convenience store. What, did they move out of the Black Lodge? Why are they here? What's going on? What is even happening here? Why aren't they in the Black Lodge? Why did the Tremons get added to the group? Who are these other fucking people? What's happening here, Sean?
Well, we will get into all of this when we discuss Twin Peaks: The Missing Pieces in just one moment. So I know that it's all, it's pressing and you got to know now, but if I give you the answers to that before we talk about the opening scenes of this movie, that's not going to make any sense, right?
Okay. Well, all right. All right. I guess you're right.
We'll be there in a minute because we're going to just breeze through a lot of this real quick.
Okay.
But basically, yeah. So the Missing Pieces came out in 2014. As I mentioned before, it's like a feature-length compilation of deleted scenes from the movie. What would that be? How many years later? 22 years later?
Yeah, I think so. I'm bad at math.
And 22 years, exactly, yeah. And a few years before season 3 aired, this came out again, much like the series, I would say even more so than the series. This came out and was just a big surprise. I didn't know this was coming whatsoever. And I think it landed on Criterion or something. It's probably how I first saw it, but was hyped to see it. Watched it at that time and enjoyed it, Notably, this Missing Pieces compilation has scenes that include characters that were excluded from the movie. So in this, we get to see Josie Packard again, thank goodness, as well as Big Ed and Nadine, who don't really appear in the film proper. By the way, I always felt like calling this the Missing Pieces is kind of a lost opportunity. You probably should have called this the Missing Pages, right? Like Laura Palmer's diary that has pages ripped out of it in the movie, right? Wouldn't that be the better title?
I think so. That does make sense.
But they went with Missing Pieces. And just in general, I love the fact that they did this, that they took the time to make something like this. It does kind of make you wonder, how many other movies out there have hours of unused footage sitting in vaults somewhere that we could be watching. And probably not every movie has 90 minutes worth of interesting outtakes, but if there's even a minute of Blade Runner out there that I haven't seen, I would love to see it. Like, I don't know why we don't just release all of this stuff rather than keep it locked up in vaults where nobody can see it.
Yeah, I agree. I think there was a sweet spot where we were. Like, you know, in the olden days, they would, if you had deleted scenes, like they would just literally go in the garbage because there's nothing to do with them. And then, you know, during the 10-year golden age where we had DVDs, like I think all that stuff would end up on DVDs, and now we don't really have physical media anymore. So like that stuff, I guess, either just goes to YouTube or gets thrown away again. So yeah, there was a golden age where we were getting this stuff, but I think it's over.
Yeah, now it's like the early days at the BBC. We're just burning these tapes, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't care how many episodes of Doctor Who are on these, you know? We're just going to smash them out in the streets.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about the scenes in this. And so this being a collection of deleted scenes, it doesn't necessarily have its own narrative through line or anything that is separate from Fire Walk With Me. This is really just kind of glimpses in between the lines of the story that we already know. Some of these scenes are more interesting than others. I'm just going to kind of briefly mention what they are, and then we can talk more about them if we want to. But the first scene is called Desmond's M.O., with Agent Sam Stanley and Agent Chester Desmond leaving the morgue.
What's this one called again?
It's called Desmond's M.O.
He's got his own M.O. Modus operandi.
Right. That is damn right, David Lynch. But we got the two FBI agents, Chris Isaac and Kiefer Sutherland, exiting the morgue after performing their autopsy and commenting on how it is already nighttime. This is like kind of in the finished movie, but we get like a longer version of it here. And I guess what was interesting about this is kind of like the passage of time aspect, where it appears that they were in some kind of trance where they didn't even notice that time was passing, which is something that seems to happen on this show.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I like the way this show plays with time, as we've talked about. But yeah. There wasn't too much more to this.
Yeah, it's pretty brief. Then we got more stuff at Hap's Diner. This scene is called Say Hello to Jack, where they talk to Jack, the owner of the diner, about Teresa Banks. There's some like cool like Lynchian weirdness in this scene where there's a guy fixing a light bulb that keeps flashing, as you would expect any light bulb in a David Lynch production to do. And he's just kind of over in the corner, just kind of tinkering with this light bulb. But I like that. And I like this scene overall. I mean, I guess I get why it was cut, maybe. I mean, not a whole lot happens, but I actually think this one probably should have stayed in.
Yeah. I mean, anything with these guys, like at the top, like, I mean, that it was before watching Twin Peaks. It was that my favorite stuff in this movie was like the first half hour with the FBI guys. I'm not sure if that's true anymore because of how much I love Laura Palmer, but so yeah, I would say like, yeah, pretty much anytime you can add more of these guys, you probably should have. So I probably would have liked this being in the full movie maybe. But yeah, there's so much stuff, and there's only so much you can fit in. So I understand why it's out.
And he might have sensed that, you know, as much as he wanted to kind of maybe challenge the audience by going with a prequel rather than just answering all the questions that people would have had at the end of season 2, even with having that mindset, he might have realized like more than 30 minutes of these FBI agents that we never met before at the top of the movie is probably going to just cause people to walk out, you know? Like, it's pretty ballsy to start this movie off with nobody that we know, you know?
Yeah. Well, during my patented research, I discovered that all of this stuff was supposed to be Agent Cooper. But Kyle MacLachlan was upset about season 2. He thought season 2 sucked, so he didn't want to come back. And so they had to like rewrite it and throw in these 2 new characters. But then eventually he acquiesced and compromised and said, I'll come back and I'll do the movie, but I'm only going to shoot for 5 days. So that's why he's in very little of the movie.
And I think it worked out. I mean, I like the fact that we now live in a world here in the Twin Peaks universe where I guess there are multiple FBI agents who are very likable weirdos. You know what I mean? Like we've now met 5 FBI agents, I think, and all 5 of them have been kind of a hoot in their own way. So, yeah, if you can keep writing interesting, fun FBI agents, bring them on, I guess.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. I like these guys.
Then we get a little bit extra of them leaving the diner, saying good morning to Irene, the unhelpful non-Norma waitress. Not a whole lot here, just a little moment, but I liked it.
Yeah.
Then, kind of a showpiece scene, I think. So we get this cool fist fight between the sheriff of Deer Meadow and Chester Desmond. Desmond wants access to the morgue, I think, to see Teresa Banks' body or whatever. And the sheriff's not having it. So not only do we get a cool fist fight, which I thought was like really kind of brutal and like realistic looking and just kind of awesome. But before that, we get to see something that we, in the finished film, only get to see in a photograph, which is this sheriff doing his feat of strength where he bends a steel bar. We get to see him do that for real in this movie, and it's fucking awesome. I love this scene. A real bummer, I think, that this scene was cut. Of all the stuff that was cut, I think this is the one thing that if I could only pick one, I would put it back in.
Really? That's very surprising. This was, one of the ones where I was like, I get why this was cut. Like,
it doesn't add up to anything, I guess, but I love that actor who plays the sheriff. He is like such the perfect like David Lynch weirdo, where he's like, it's a little bit gnarled looking and just kind of mean looking, and I just love that guy.
Yeah, I like him. I don't know. I just thought it was like just like a little bit much here, and then also like the FBI agents, like they're always like kind of peaceful. Like, I mean, my interpretation of all this is that they're kind of, as I've talked about, like they're kind of stand-ins for monks, sort of. You know, like the police work they do is kind of more meditation than actual police work. Generally, so I kind of see them as and I mean, they're not very violent. Like Cooper's never, I mean, I think he gets into like one violent situation in the whole show, basically. So like, I don't know, seeing Chris Isaak like so eager to get into a fist fight kind of, I feel like doesn't really gel well with what we know of law enforcement in the show. So I thought it was a little atypical, but the boxing itself is very good. Apparently Chris Isaak was a boxer before becoming a singer, so that's probably why it looks so real.
It looks very real. Like, you know, you watch it and you know that they're doing kind of the movie thing where like they've got the camera angled at such a way that I can't tell that they're not making contact. Mm-hmm. But even knowing that, man, it really looks like they're making contact. It's pretty impressive work. So I like the scene, and I also like the fact that we get a little bit more time with that sheriff's deputy kind of guy, the guy that's not the main sheriff, but the blonde-haired guy. Mm-hmm. Did you realize at first, or did you even realize this time watching it, that guy is the guy that delivers the baby laxative fake cocaine to Bobby later on?
I did not, no.
Because I feel like that is never really kind of focused on at all in the movie, but it's the same guy. I guess he was running drugs for Jacques Renault at some point as well, and then decided to screw Bobby in that scene, but they don't really go into it. The other thing that is referenced in this that is not in the final movie is the fact that guy lives in the trailer next to Teresa Banks in Harry Dean Stanton's trailer park there.
Okay. So is it the same character then that delivers the drugs? Or okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, I guess that makes sense because in this scene he really feels like kind of the anti-Andy. It's like he feels like sort of, I don't know, just the anti-Andy. Like he's kind of like diabolical a little bit. Like he seems kind of smart, you know? So like, yeah, I guess it makes sense that he'd be doing all this nefarious stuff on the side if he was the anti-Andy.
Yeah, which I think, you know, had they kept this scene in, audiences might have had a slightly better chance at picking up on that. As the movie plays out, I mean, that guy is kind of only in that very brief scene in like the lobby of the sheriff's station, and then you don't see him again in the movie for like another 2 hours. So I honestly didn't even realize that until not this time, but probably the last time that I watched this movie. I had already seen it a few times before I picked up on that. After this scene, we get probably my least favorite scene in the missing pieces between Cooper and Diane. Cooper is at the doorway of his office, looking through the door, speaking to Diane, who we don't see or hear. And he's talking about he's trying to figure out what has changed in the room. He's like, did you change did you change your haircut, or did something change about the decorations in here? And then he realizes, oh, you moved the clock a few inches. And I don't know, just this whole thing, like the conceit of him speaking to a Diane that we don't see, kind of hacky. I mean, it might have worked better if it was just, I don't know, if the dialogue was better, but I didn't like Cooper's dialogue in this scene. Didn't feel 100% accurate to Cooper. And he does a weird thing at the end of the scene where he kind of like orders Diane to make him coffee in a way that feels like really, I don't know, kind of patronizing.
Yeah, I don't know if this is true or not, but like when he's giving the dialogue, like he leaves spaces for potentially for somebody else to be talking. So I wonder if this scene was originally supposed to have a Diane that he's talking to, that David Lynch would cut back and forth between the two. And because they knew they weren't going to use this, they just never found a Diane to film the other half of the scene. I don't know if that's true, but that's the way it feels.
But it also does kind of play into that thing of like, you know, you watch the show, and we were talking about this, I think, on the Bookhouse Boys on one episode. For a while, you don't know, is Diane just the name of his tape recorder, you know? And so to not show her it is kind of fun to be like, well, maybe he's still talking to a tape recorder that's on the other side of that door for all I know, you know?
Yeah, I think we figured out that she has to be real because he makes a note that she should send him something in the mail, and then he eventually gets it. So she has to be real in some capacity. So, but yeah, I do like the idea of not necessarily meeting her. Like, unless he meets her and it's like, I don't know, it's Cher or something, like one of the biggest stars in the world in 1992, whoever that would have been. Like, I don't know, anything else kind of probably would have been underwhelming. I don't know, Cher probably wasn't the biggest star in the world in 1992.
What if it was Cool Spot?
Cool Spot would have been good, or like...
That would have been sick.
Yeah, Heather Locklear, or somebody like this, the star of Melrose Place.
What about Arsenio Hall?
Arsenio would have been a good Diane.
Arsenio as Diane. I mean, that would have been classic.
Yeah, if it was anybody less than like Meryl Streep, it probably would have been underwhelming. So it's probably a good idea they didn't film her.
Yeah. Well, in the next scene, Cooper goes to talk to Kiefer Sutherland, aka Agent Stanley, about the disappearance of Chester Desmond. I don't know. It's cool to see these two interacting, I guess. There's not a ton of stuff that happens in this scene. They kind of talk about Blue Rose real quick. I don't know. I liked it, I guess.
Yeah, it's all right.
Now a big sequence in which we see a lot more of the David Bowie stuff. So at first we get to see David Bowie in the lobby of a hotel in Buenos Aires. I don't think any of the hotel in Buenos Aires stuff is in Fire Walk With Me, right?
I think he just shows up at the office in Philadelphia or whatever. But yeah, I don't think we see Buenos Aires.
Yeah, so in this, he's at a hotel in Buenos Aires. He, at the front desk, asks if there is a Miss Judy at the hotel. Another reference to Judy, potentially Judy Garland Briggs from The Wizard of Oz. The concierge responds by giving him a letter that the young lady left, although it's not clear if he's talking about Judy or somebody else. And then we get a bunch more of Philip Jeffries, a.k.a. David Bowie, ranting in the FBI office. So this is stuff that some of which we saw in the movie, but now we get a lot more of it. And this is where we get that above the convenience store sequence. Gordon makes Albert leave to check with the front desk, tries to call for security. And mostly the stuff that's interesting in this is not the stuff in the office itself. It is the stuff that is either in Buenos Aires or above the convenience store. But after we get this above the convenience store montage, Jeffries disappears.
Yeah. I like his disappearing and reappearing in this. Like he gets zapped back to whatever weird dimension he came from. And when he goes back to Buenos Aires, there's like scorch marks on the wall behind him. I thought that was really cool.
And the maids are freaking out, and one of the bellboys says that he pooped himself.
Yeah, I love all that stuff. That's great. And then I think there's more stuff where it's like alluded to that like the Garmonbozia people travel through electricity. So it's cool to see that here. I had no idea what this was. I mean, I guess even if you had seen all of Twin Peaks, you probably wouldn't know what any of this was in the original movie because it's just kind of all out of nowhere and unexplained. But I like it. I like David Bowie. I like his southern accent. And I really like...
You do like his southern accent. I think you might be the only person that's ever said that about this.
I don't know. It's just like a fun and silly thing. And I like Cooper. He like is looking into the security cameras, and then he goes into like the monitor room to see himself on the monitors on the security cameras, and he's like not moving, and he's like going back and forth watching the two. And I liked that. I've often said that I think that Cooper and Gordon Cole are somehow the same character, and even if they're not literally the same character, like they're. But Kyle MacLachlan's always David Lynch's stand-in in all his movies, so they're kind of the same character either way. But I really liked this because he's going back and forth, like he's in front of the camera, and then he goes into the other room, and he's behind the camera, watching the camera now, watching himself on camera. So it's essentially what Gordon Cole is doing, or what David Lynch is doing as Gordon Cole. He's in front of the camera, and then he goes behind the camera to watch himself as director, you know, like... So I thought that was maybe explicitly what that scene was kind of conveying, but who knows? I don't know. But that's what I
never thought of it that way. I mean, I like that interpretation. Even without that, though, I think just kind of the concept of like the frozen and unfrozen video at the same time, like that is such a weird kind of uncanny, kind of spooky concept that I've always loved that scene. Even, you know, the version that's in the final film is cut down a lot, and it doesn't make much sense. Like once Bowie enters the room and starts ranting about stuff, you're just kind of like, I don't know what any of this is, even as somebody that's watched the show. But I still loved it originally. I do think it is nice to get this extended version where we get more of the context for what was happening. And I think it probably should have been in the final movie in this extended version. I'm kind of sad that it wasn't. In terms of like what all of this above the convenience store stuff means, I kind of feel like I should just not tell you. I kind of feel like I should let you just speculate on that stuff, because we'll talk more about it in season 3, I believe.
They're going to be above the convenience store in season 3?
They might be above that convenience store.
Okay,
now,
well...
whether or not Frances Bay survives to the year 2018 or whatever, whenever they made the show, to reprise her role as Mrs. Tremond, I'm not going to reveal that, but I don't think that she did. I think she's probably long dead. But yeah,
I think you're right. Well,
there will be more reason to speak of this later.
All right, well then I'll wait for that. Because even having seen all of Twin Peaks, this makes no sense whatsoever. Why they would
But it
suddenly
makes
be here.
more sense now that you've seen Twin Peaks than it did before with no context, right?
Actually, I think it maybe makes less sense.
All right.
Before I had no idea who these guys were, and I thought they were just a bunch of weirdos hanging out above a convenience store. But now that I know that they belong in the Black Lodge, and that half of them are new, and half of them used to be human, it makes much less sense.
Let me ask you this. If you found yourself above the convenience store and you could only party with one of these characters, who you want to party with, bro? Is it Jumping Man?
No, of course it's the man from another place. He knows how to dance. He says, "Let's rock."
Oh, yeah.
When he kills FBI agents, he vandalizes people's car.
That's another thing. The Let's Rock,
Mm-hmm.
immediately before they go to the Pink Room, they say, "Let's Boogie." Kind of similar.
Yeah, that's similar. That is similar.
Also, there's some characters in that scene that dance like the arm dances.
Is that true?
Yeah, go back and watch it. You'll see the arm dance being done.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
All right, well, it's a crazy scene, a lot of crazy stuff. You get all these flashes of visuals, all kinds of lightning bolts that David Lynch loves, all these unusually kind of unusual looking people, you know what I mean? And then we cut to the next scene. In the next scene, we get to see Bobby Briggs and Mike Nelson, two characters that are barely in the finished film. They talk about the fact that they owe Leo Johnson $5,000 and that their coke is running low. Cool to see them, I guess, but it doesn't really... I mean, I get why this was cut. This has nothing to do with much.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I guess it does kind of play into like Laura's desperation later that the cocaine is run out, but we don't necessarily need it. In the next scene, Laura is at home. She discovers that pages have been ripped out of her diary, hence the title of this being The Missing Pages, or at least should have been. And then she encounters her mom, Sarah, who is smoking a cigarette and then gives it to Laura to hold for a second, which I don't think is something that parents do to children. I guess maybe they did in 1991, 92, whatever. And then asks for it back, where she's like, "Oh shit, don't walk away with my cigarette, give that back to me." But that's about all that happens in this scene. It was nice to see Grace Zabriskie again, though. Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff in this Missing Pieces where it's like the Palmer family acting like a real family before everything is crazy, and all that stuff is really great.
Yeah, actually, so that is the next part of this, is that Laura returns home at dinner time, and they have this funny little scene where Leland Palmer teaches them Norwegian, because the Norwegian investors will be coming to the Great Northern, something that we end up seeing in the show. And so he's teaching them how to say, "Hello, my name is," in Norwegian. And I thought it was fun, charming. It's fun to see, Sarah Palmer smiling and laughing. Leland is still kind of a creep in this, but I guess he's not as fully creeped out as he will be in other scenes.
Yeah, he's just being, he's kind of weird. Like, he comes in doing something weird. I forget what it is. He's like shouting about something and acting like a Viking or something, but
a giant or something. He's like fee fi fo fum or whatever.
Yeah, so he's being a little bit weird, but this is really fun. A, because it ties into the Norwegians, who are my favorite characters on the show, and B, it's just like, before Bob. I mean, I don't know. I guess this is before Bob. Maybe Bob. No, I guess Leland has Bob because he killed that other girl. But it's still just getting to see these guys as a real family before all this crazy stuff happens to them is really great. It's something you don't really get to see in the movie or the show.
Yeah. Something else that you don't get in the show very much is Laura prostituting herself, which is what the next scene is. She meets a trucker and exchanges sex for cocaine. And it's, it's what I just said. Not a bad little scene, but I guess I get why it was cut.
Yeah. Yeah. We know she loves cocaine.
Yeah. It might have been more interesting if that trucker was another character that we had seen before. Like if that was like Rusty, if he got Ted Raimi in there to play that trucker or something, that would have been fun. But it's just some anonymous trucker. In the next scene, Del Mibler, who is... Mm-hmm. This is the old guy from the bank, right?
Yep. The guy who just walked back and forth for a while. Yep.
Doesn't appear in any other Twin Peaks except for that final scene one of the scenes in the final episode of season 2. Makes an appearance in The Missing Pieces. I think he was entirely cut out of the movie proper, but he shows up at the Packard sawmill to complain to Pete that the 2x4s he purchased aren't the right size. They're not exactly 2x4 inches. And this leads to an argument that I found to be very funny. They're talking about how basically Pete explains that, just as the dollar is not